You ever heard the advice, just be yourself? You ever realize it doesn't fucking mean anything? I agonized over this for such a long time. I remember when my mental health was really bad and I just kept getting this advice, like, just be yourself and it's fine. And I was like, great, cool. What does that mean? How do I actually be myself? What the fuck does that mean? I literally agonized over this question for years until I finally found something that not only worked, but gave me an entire framework to live my life in and has me connect to myself and feeling more myself every single day. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. The actual practical aspects of how to be yourself, what it looks like, and how to do it. So the first thing I want to share with you is my favorite quote of all time, which if you've listened to anything I've ever done, you've probably heard it before. And it's from Carl Jung, and it states, if you follow that which is most alive in you, it will lead you to God, even if it doesn't seem like it. And so I'm going to break this quote down like I've done a bazillion times and explain you why it's so important. So if you follow that which is most alive in you, right? Okay, so this is the first entry to being yourself. That which is alive in you. What he's really referring to are the things that you don't really have any control over. You just get excited by them. Like psychology excites the fuck out of me. Helping somebody figure out who they are and turn it into power and all that sort of shit, it's just naturally exciting to me. I just picked the thing I'm naturally obsessed with and turned it into a career because I already had all the energy for it. And when you follow that which is most alive in you, it's the things that are unique to you. Because if you think about it, you don't pick who you fall in love with. You don't pick what you're passionate about. You don't pick what you care about. You don't pick most of these things that are in you. They just kind of spring up naturally. And the only choice you have is whether or not to follow them. And so if you follow that which is most alive in you, it will lead you to God. And when Carl Jung writes about God, he's writing about the self with the capital S, like who you really are underneath all of the shit. As you do your shadow integration practice, it's what everything gets integrated into. If you followed my vision course or listened to anything I've ever said, it's where the vision comes from. It's all these things that you cannot choose. They're just innate to you. And so if you follow that which is most alive in you, it will lead you to God, even if it doesn't seem like it. And the even if it doesn't seem like it is really important because when we're getting clear on who we are, what we want, what excites us, all that sort of stuff, a lot of times it'll come along with judgments because the true version of you is potentially the part of you that you learned at some point to put away. You know, maybe it wasn't safe in your household. Maybe you got picked on as a kid. You know, whatever it was, a lot of us grow up with the sense that it's not okay to be who we truly are at our most authentic underneath. And so when we find out who we want to be, some part of us is like, oh no, that's dangerous. That's scary. That's blah, 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 blah. That's whatever. However, if you follow that which is most alive in you, it will lead you to God, even if it doesn't seem like it. So even if some part of you judges it, but it brings you alive and it really makes you feel like, holy fuck, this would make life worth living. It's like, yeah, okay, pursue that shit. And I'm going to take this a little bit further because what I've noticed is there's a hierarchy of things. And this hierarchy is another thing you can't choose. There's just a degree to which you want certain things. You know, and this is inarguable. There are things you want more than others. Can't really argue that. And so if you take that concept to its natural end, there are things you want most. There are the things you want more than any other. For me, it's to become a successful coach. For me, it's to get shadow work out there as much as I possibly can, help as many people as I possibly can, and become fabulously wealthy as a result of doing the best work I possibly can. Like that is, I obsess over that every single day, because what could be more fun? Hopefully you have a different answer because you're not me. Or maybe you do have the same answer and we can partner on some shit. I don't know. But the point is to figure out the things that you want most. This is really an act of surrender more than anything else. Because when we think about being ourselves, it's like that whole, like, you don't find yourself, you create yourself thing. I don't know who came up with that quote, but they're fucking wrong. Well, they're not totally wrong. It's a little bit of both. Because in order to create yourself, you first have to find yourself. And you find yourself in the things that you are naturally interested in, the things that you are naturally drawn to. Like I'm naturally drawn to coaching because I love psychology and it's super fun for me. But I'm also drawn to designing my own clothes because that's really fun for me and I like wearing clothes that I designed. I really like the feeling of having my internal world completely match my external world. I like having my insides match my outsides. And nobody made the clothes that I wanted to wear or nobody made them the way I wanted them, so I just made them myself. Same reason I like anime and video games is because they allow me to study psychology in these unique ways that are really enthralling. And it's just like, it allows me to do the things that I care about and they all benefit each other. I play music for similar reasons because it just fucking brings me alive. And the more things you can identify that bring you alive and make you feel like yourself, that puts you on the path to actually being yourself. Because when you're really being yourself, all you're really saying is, this is what I want. This is who I am. This is the kind of life that I want to live. I've taken a look at my hierarchy of desires, and these are the things at the very top of them. So I'm going to go do them. And you can not like that if you want. Not really going to matter, because that doesn't change what I want. Nobody's opinions is going to have any bearing on your hierarchy. You want the things that you want. And there really isn't any arguing that. You just want them. It's fine. I want to be a super successful coach. You could hate me for that. You could tell me it's a dumb dream. You could tell me all kinds of things, but that's not going to change what I want. And so I surrender to that which I want. Now, there's an important distinction, right? Because there's this thing in my head going like, what if you want to kill people? It's like, first of all, if you want to kill people, you're probably not watching my channel in the first place. Secondly, if you do, there's probably something deeper going on. And if you integrate that part of you that wants to kill the people, then it's like you'll figure out what was really going on in the first place. It's a silly thing to even have to bring up. Somebody always brings it up, so here we are. So that's really the first phase of becoming who you really are, is identifying your hierarchy of desires, your hierarchy of values, the things that you care about more than any other. Like for me, I value the truth more than anything else. I value the truth more than my relationships. I value the truth more than my career. I value the truth more than literally anything, because without the truth, all those other things start to suffer. And I value play and fun, because if I'm not having fun and if I'm not playing around all the time, then eventually my life starts to get really heavy. And I don't want to do all the shit I got to do in order to become who I want to become. So you got to figure out like what you value. You got to figure out what matters to you most as to you as an individual. Because that's where all this really matters, is how you become yourself. It's getting clear on what's important to you, who you want to be, the kind of life you want to live, the kind of personality you want to have, the kind of relationships you want to have. It's all about you, and knowing that you have to just surrender to what's already there. You already have the blueprint for your ideal life and your ideal self in here, which is the whole point of my vision and identity courses, is to help you connect to those things, bring them forward, articulate them, and start walking towards them. These things are just already in you. And so now I want to talk about a different level of it, because that's kind of like the big meta version of how to be yourself. But there's also like the moment-to-moment situational aspect of being yourself. And this, again, is just another aspect of surrender. Because in any given moment, you think what you think. In any given moment, you feel what you feel. In any given moment, you are having whatever reactions to whatever is around you that you're having. And that's just it. There's no arguing with that. If somebody says some shit I don't like, the fact is I don't like it. I can act like I do, but that'll just sever my relationship to truth, and then my very first value is broken. So I'm not going to do that. If somebody says some shit that I don't like, the fact is that I don't like it. So I might as well be honest about that. And if somebody does some shit that I do like, it's like, well, I like that. Got to be honest about it. And it's just this process of no longer arguing with reality, but it's tricky and scary, because once you get into alignment with reality and once you surrender to the truth of the moment, suddenly there's all these other things that could happen. Somebody says some shit you don't like, you tell them that you don't like it. Maybe you just lost your best friend. Maybe I've lost a girlfriend of 4 years over this. I was with a girl for 4 years. I loved her more than I've ever loved anybody. And she looked me dead in the eye and told me that my worldview was useless and that there was nothing she could learn from me just because I thought hating people on the opposite side of the political spectrum was a bad idea. Like, I lost friends. I lost a girlfriend of 4 years who I loved deeply. I've lost a lot because I wanted to tell the truth. But I can tell you with 100% certainty and 100% honesty, I am so much better with my relationship to myself than I would have been keeping those relationships that caused me to sever my relationship with myself. I would trade any relationship, any dynamic, anything that I own. There is nothing in this world that could tempt me away from my connection to myself and my own internal integrity with the truth. Because when you have that, you have this sense of clarity about who you are, what you think, what you believe in. It's okay for other people not to like it. You don't even have to get defensive about it. It's just like, cool, there's good reasons you could not like what I'm doing. Who knows how your mind's made up? Who knows what the fuck you went through? They could potentially see what I'm doing as a threat. That's fine. I don't care. I'm going to love you and potentially help you see whatever it is that makes you hate me. Maybe you're even right. Who knows? Let's figure it out. But you get to have this like a nice, peaceful experience of just being what you are. Because especially if you're doing shadow integration and you know who you are and it's solid, and you really start to connect to that it's like the idea of other people not liking it is just like, it's silly. It's like the idea of somebody not liking puppies or chocolate. Like I have a friend who doesn't like chocolate. And every time I'm reminded of that, I'm like, what the fuck? How do you not like chocolate? Same thing when you really start to get to know yourself and really like yourself and really respect yourself. Somebody not liking you was like, what? How could you not like this? I'm just like a good person that tells the truth and has fun and tries to make the world better. If you don't like that, then like either I've got a huge blind spot or your priorities are all fucked up. And so it really like changes your relationship to criticism. It changes your relationship to the world around you that could potentially judge you or harm you or anything like that, because you know who you are and you like it and you trust it. And you're like, cool, I know what I'm doing. It doesn't really matter if you don't like it. So it gives you this tremendous amount of peace. And then as you develop that sense of peace, you start to realize how much more valuable that peace and integrity with yourself is than anything else. Like there have been so many times that I was terrified to do the right thing. There are times that I put off doing the right thing for years, the thing that I knew my heart was really needing me to do. And the amount of suffering I caused to myself as a result of denying what I knew was true versus the amount of liberation and freedom and happiness that I felt when I finally did what I knew I was supposed to do, it's night and fucking day. So like I said, I've had to compromise a lot. And as you settle into who you really are, it's like you may come to realize that some of the things in your environment don't work for you. You may come to realize that, hey, you know, my girlfriend actually doesn't respect me, doesn't treat me very well. And now I can be honest about that. And so that's going to have the impact on the relationship it's going to have. Or you start to realize you don't like your job. You start to realize whatever. As you get into connection with the truth, you are also getting into connection with the consequences of knowing the truth. And so this is a difficult thing. And this is why so many people don't stay committed to the truth, is because the truth has consequences. And those consequences can be difficult to face. But if you know shadow integration, then you can love yourself through every part of the process. When that ex-girlfriend who looked me dead in the eye and told me my worldview was useless, I remember being so scared that I would never love anyone like that ever again. But thanks to shadow integration, I was able to love that part of myself and be like, oh yeah, that's going to be easy to figure out. If I love myself that much, it'd be easy for someone else to love me. And so every single time you lose something and every single time it costs you something to be in alignment with your truth, all that's really doing is introducing you to another part of you that was afraid of being there with you. And so you get to bring another part of you online. You get to bring more of you into alignment with that shit that you can't control. The shit that's just a part of you, that which is most alive in you. Each time you find a part of you that was attached to something that was out of alignment with that, and you bring it into alignment, like yes, maybe you'll lose some shit that you were attached to, but what you will gain is 1,000,000 times more valuable. So in order to really truly be yourself, you have to understand that you have a hierarchy of desires, a hierarchy of things that just matter to you more than any other. And if you're willing to identify those things and live in alignment with those things, you will have the experience of being yourself. And that feels like a peaceful acknowledgement of like, yeah, this is what I want to do with my life. And this is the kind of person I want to be. And these are the kind of friends I want to have. And this is the shit I want to do with my life. And it's just a nice, peaceful acknowledgement of who you want to be. And then that allows you to, once you have that, once you have something to truly fight for and something to truly anchor into, then it allows you into the second phase where you're able to just surrender to your truth in every moment of every day because you know what it gives you. And you're not willing to argue with reality anymore because there is just the truth of the moment. Somebody says some shit you don't like it. Tell the truth about it. Because what else are you going to do? Lie and fracture your mind in order to maintain something in your external reality that isn't even fucking good for you? Like, that doesn't make sense. And so the more you align yourself with who you really are, the more anchored into it you get, the more solid into it you become. And as a result, these new parts of you that used to be attracted to all these things that weren't good for you are now suddenly integrated, and they are creating your life from a place of alignment within that which is most alive in you. And so as you do this, more parts of you are like, oh, this is who we really are. This is what we really want. Great. They start looking outward for those things. They start attracting them. They start creating them. They start putting you in alignment so that you can act in a way that creates those opportunities and allows you to capitalize on them in the best way possible. And next thing you know, your entire reality just becomes completely filled with all the things and people and behaviors and everything that you want most because you were able to be honest about that, articulate it, follow it, and be with the consequences. So again, like always, I know this is a big fucking topic with a lot to talk about. So if you have any questions about any of this, please let me know. I'd be happy to go deeper. And like always, I have a free community that is dedicated to helping everybody with shit like this. There's a link for it below. It's my Discord community. There's a whole group of us that will help you figure out who you are, how to integrate your obstacles, how to deal with the consequences, all that sort of stuff. Will help you with whatever you need completely for free. And if you need to learn shadow integration, I have a free course for that as well. So whatever it is you need, I got your back. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm Chris Roscoe. I love you, and I'll see you next time.